People usually think of growth as like 10 to 20% a year, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, 10 to 20% a year is awesome, but it's an optimization of a situation. And there are times, like in your personal life or at business, where optimizations will no longer cut it, and you want to take a big swing, meaning you're going for 10xing your growth. And the thing about 10xing your growth is the stuff that got you to where you are, it's good for the optimizations. It completely breaks when you talk about multiplying your current situation. For example, there's no way to 10x your salary. Something big needs to change. And in this video, we're going to talk about the exercise that you can use when you're trying to do something huge like 10x growth. If you're balking at the idea of doing this, then there's no chance it's gonna work. But if you keep an open mind, I'm gonna walk you through an exercise that's worked for me personally, it's worked for businesses that I've worked for, and I call it the 10x exercise. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started. Just like everything that I go over in this channel, this is one thing where it's like the more you put in, the more you're gonna get out of it. So if you're going through this exercise and you're just like writing down, high level stuff and you're not being thoughtful about it, it's not gonna work. Be thoughtful about this, and when you do it, for me, this takes a day. If it's taking you 5 or 10 minutes, then it's going wrong. Okay, so let's get into the first step when you're trying to grow an order of magnitude. And the first thing that you need to do is you need to write down what your goal is. This is really important. So let's say you're trying to increase your personal income by a factor of 10x. If you write down something like, I want to make my salary go from 50K to 500K, that's not possible. It's not possible because salaries don't work like that. Like there's no way that you're gonna be collecting a paycheck like this and it's just gonna go up by a factor of 10. You need to reframe this. You need to write down what your true goal is. So in this case, your true goal is you want your personal income to go from 50 to 500. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna write that down. So the next step for this is actually really quick, which is you're just gonna write out your current status on all of these. And what I mean by that is everything that's going into your current personal income, you want to brainstorm it out. So let's say in this case, if I'm doing 50K, then I might have a consulting business that does 38, might have a side hustle that does like 1K a month and brings me to 50K. But then there might also be in the back of my mind, I wanna do things like make investments or something, which doesn't bring in any revenue yet, but is important to consider because it may be a revenue stream in the future. So in this case, I'm gonna write down all of the things that could impact how I get to that goal. And this is what you should do. And this is why it takes time to be thoughtful, because this is your brainstorming exercise to come up with the most important levers of your business. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna write those down. If you have been meticulous about the levers that are going to impact your business, now we need to break down all of the factors within each of these things. So we'll start with the freelancing thing that currently brings in 38. Okay, within the freelancing thing, we need to break down what the levers are. To me, the levers are either I get more clients at 3K or I increase the rate. So in this case, the two levers that I could do are increasing clients, increasing rates. And this is huge because right away you can start to determine if one of these is more possible than the other one. Which are you gonna focus on, the clients or the rates? You could start with the rates right away. I actually got a tip from a friend when I was first doing this, which is keep pushing your rates up until someone says no. If everyone's saying yes to your consulting rates, then it's probably too cheap. So keep pushing until you get some feedback that it's too high. But for this case, we'll focus on clients and rates. For the side project, maybe I'm realizing that takes up a lot of time. So instead of focusing on the side project, I'm just gonna channel all efforts into more clients. And of course, this is moving pretty quickly for me because I've done this before, I've gone through this whole thing before, and I'm just like working through an exercise to show you as quickly as possible. But when you're going through this, I can't stress this enough. The more creative you are about finding your levers, the better you are about seeing different opportunities pop up, the easier this thing is gonna be. If you wanted to 10x your consulting business, you could get 10 clients at 3K, you could get 1 client at 30K, or there's a little bit of flexibility in there that maybe you increase your rates to 6K and then you get 5 clients and boom, now we've leveled up your consulting business. And while this doesn't happen overnight, it's something that's really great to work toward because it's totally doable if you start putting your mind to it and focusing on the 10x path. Now, after you've gone over the levers for your business, now's where you need to create the plan. So for me, I had 3 different potential income flows. Maybe you have 5, maybe you have 1 big one, whatever the case. What I need to do is I need to create a plan. And this is very similar to what we did in the last step. So if you think about this, it's kind of like a tree where at first you start with your goal, then you break down the most important paths to get to your goal, then you break those down further to see if there's some high return on investment ways to spend your time, and then you break that down even further to see of your plan how you're going to do this. So in this case, we've talked about getting more clients and increasing the rates, but then there's this whole part of like the getting more clients where we need to figure out the plan for that. And if you're figuring out the plan for getting more clients, then we're talking, so warm inbound, cold inbound, cold outbound. So if most of your consulting revenue is coming from warm inbounds, then what you need to do is you need to figure out how to get more warm inbounds, right? If you got your first client through a cold outbound, then let's focus on the cold outbounds. Now, if you were doing other stuff, like let's say you want to make this money from teaching, then you would say, okay, how much am I making per class? Can I increase the students or can I increase the rates? If I increase the students or I need to increase the students, where are they coming from? So I want to summarize this. First, what you need is you need to come up with a goal, like a really good goal that you're going to use. And once you have that goal, then it's easier to break down the levers that are going to influence this. When you know the best levers that you can pull, that's when you break those down even further and you figure out how you're going to work those levers. Overall, the benefits of this are humongous, and I think it's worth everyone doing this. I generally do this toward the end of the year. I have no doubt that it's going to work for you, because the wonderful thing about trying to 10x your business is that even if you fail, you end up still with like a multiple higher of growth. So if you were starting at 50K and you want to get all the way to 500, I mean, ending up at 50% of the goal or 250, you're still 5xing your income. So give it a shot. Let me know in the comments if it's working for you. If you like this stuff and you like these concrete exercises, hit subscribe. It really helps the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.